guys, today I'm filming my monthly makeup basket for December. I am going to start pulling out my winter makeup products and I'm really sad about it. I mean, I like what I have here, but I definitely enjoy wearing my fall makeup the best. I love warm tones. I find it very flattering on my skin tone with my eye color, my hair color. I'm wearing a very fall, very Thanksgiving look today, and I am gonna be wearing my fall looks for this weekend when we're traveling for Thanksgiving. But after that, I'm gonna start wearing my winter makeup products, and I'm sad right now, but hopefully I will end up being excited about it. So last night I pulled everything out that I wanted to test out over this next season, and these are the things that I picked for this month. I am going to be starting a new project pan at the beginning of December, and I didn't want to spoil any of those items, so there are products that I have in here that will change when I start my project pan, just to let you know. So before we get into the new products, I wanted to recap a couple of the items I used last month. So I used almost all of the lip products. I did not use Dose of Colors Mondays. I literally just remembered that I had put that away before I used it, but the other ones I wore in videos, which is awesome. I'm happy about that. And for the single shadows that I chose, there were several I didn't use at all, but I did use one, and I did use my mini palette. For my larger palettes, I used them all a handful of times, but not a ton. I was reaching for more of my custom Z palette or some other palettes, or really I was using this a whole bunch. So I don't have a ton of thoughts on those because I did not get the most use out of them. If you're interested in what these products are that I'm mentioning, I'll link last month's video up in the cards. So I will let you know about the eyeshadows that I did use, and then I did want to focus on a contour and highlight product, and I did use them several times, so I'm going to start there. So for this fall, there were two products that were basically on the chopping block for me unofficially that I was using for contour. So the first, the Bobbi Brown bronzer in medium. I'm wearing that one today. I really enjoy that one. The other is NARS Laguna, and this is just a weird color for me. I do find this to be pretty olive tone, and it has some shimmer. I think that this looks okay. I think it depends on the brush I'm using, the right amount of product, what other things are going along with it. Sometimes this can, I don't know why I did that, I'm not wearing it today. This can look muddy in my cheeks sometimes. I'm gonna keep it for now, but I do want to test this more to decide if I want to hold on to it. Then for my highlighter, I was using Juvia's Place, the Tribe Volume 3, which is the lightest shade. And I am wearing this on my cheeks today. This formula is similar to their shimmer shadows, where it's very dimethicone-y, it's very wet, so it is super metallic on the cheeks, which is pretty, but it's very intense, and I don't find that it blends the easiest. I do feel like I need a brush that kind of paints it on or pats it on instead of something a little bit more fluffy that can buff it out. This formula just needs something a little bit more dense to apply it, and it just looks really intense. So this is something that I think is a pretty color. The formula is fine, but this is not my most favorite highlight. I'm not going to declutter it, but it's, if I could have gone back in time, I probably wouldn't have purchased it, but I will keep it for now. I will use it more and decide if it's something I want to hold on to long term, but I would say that both of these products for me are okay, but not amazing, so I wouldn't repurchase them. Then for the shadows I was using, I did use this one a couple of times. This is Leo from ColourPop. It is from the Kathleen Lights Zodiac collection, and this is a beautiful gold with some copper reflex in it, and I did put this over more of a coppery base, and I was using other warm tone shadows, which really pulled out the orange in the shade. This is very pigmented. It has a really nice amount of shine to it. I am probably one of the few people that's not head over heels in love with the ColourPop pressed single shadows. I think the Super Shots look a lot more metallic. These are pigmented. They have a nice shine, but I don't usually put them on the eye and think, wow, that looks metallic and foiled. This one did perform very well. I am happy to have it. It is one of my favorite ColourPop pressed powder shadows for sure, but like I said, overall I'm not super blown away by the ColourPop formula, especially in the individuals, but the mattes I do think are nice. Speaking of mattes, my matte palette, my mini palette for this month was the Urban Decay Naked Petite Heat, and I used these 4 here, but mostly these 3. And this was okay. It was pigmented. It blended pretty well, but for some reason with these different tones, especially this one right here, I didn't love the way it looked on my eye. So it's a nice companion palette. I think it's really easy to pair with other warm tone shadows like I did with this ColourPop single. It's just okay. It's not amazing. I could definitely do without it in my collection. So those were the 4 products I wanted to recap. So now jumping into the items for December, and I did pick out 4 polishes I would like to use. The first is Essie Double-Breasted Jacket, which is a beautiful, more bright pinky tone red that I think will be awesome for Christmas. I have Orly's Rage, which is a really pretty rose gold, but this is definitely more on the rose side than the gold side. It does actually have a decent amount of like silver in it as well, but it's very pretty. Then I've got Aquarius from KL Polish, which is a really pretty mauve tan nude. There are several shades from KL Polish that are very similar to this one, but this one has the most amount of tan in it. And then I've got S'more Hollow from 90 Lacquer, which is a taupe holographic polish. Next, we have brow products. So I do have the Benefit Brow Pomade in the shade number 1. I wore this once last month. I definitely do need to wear this more on my filming days. I don't want this to dry out on me before I get to use at least majority of it. This is actually a lot of product. I think using it up completely would take me ages, but I would like to get more use out of this one on my filming days. But then for the rest of my brow routine, for my everyday brow routine, I've got my NYX Eyebrow Shaper Wax Pencil. Then I have the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Taupe to line my brows and draw on the front. And then I have the IT Cosmetics Brow Power Pencil in Universal Taupe to fill them in completely. And I was using the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. I was hoping it could last me about 3 months, but it lasted me only 2. I was really trying to have to scrape the product out, and I wasn't really able to fully coat my brows. So I decided I've probably used enough. So I'm hoping this one will only take me a month, because I want to start with like new mascaras, new brow gels at the beginning of the year. That way I can like more accurately remember when it's 3 months and I need to change it out. So I'm hoping this one will only take me 1 month. This is the Benefit Gimme Brow Gel in the shade number 2. I really do love this product. I usually use shade number 1. Number 2 looks a lot warmer, so hopefully I will enjoy that color in my brows. Then we have my Complexion products, and this category in particular is going to have a lot of products changing with the start of my winter project pan, but I'll show you what I've picked out to use for now. And that would be the Touch and Soul No Problem Primer. I'm thinking I might want to try to finish this one up completely next year. The Cover FX Mattifying Primer is a little bit older by like a month or 2, so I'm stuck between the 2 of them because I know I'm going to use up a lot of minis as well, but this is a primer I've actually already used a decent amount of, and I really do think this consistency works well for me throughout majority of the year. I've been using this for the past couple of days and I really like it, especially in combination with the pore filling primer I want to finish completely next year, which is the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Primer. And I was here in the summer, I think, and now I'm all the way up here, which is fantastic. So I actually do stand a great chance of getting this used up next year. And sometimes, depending on the other primers I pair this with or the other skincare products, it can kind of flake off my skin. It's not necessarily pilling, but it just doesn't mesh well with all other products because this is such a thick consistency. But so far these two are working really well together. For foundation, I'm honestly not loving this, but I really want to pan it, and I feel like it's going to take me absolutely ages, so we'll see. But it is the Kat Von D Look It Tattoo Foundation in Light 43 Warm and the ColourPop No Filter in Fair 15. So I'm currently using only 1 pump of each, which is why it's taking me so long to get through this. I mean, I'd already started out almost halfway through with the ColourPop foundation, so this will be easy to go through, but the Kat Von D is very slow moving. It's something that pumps up from the bottom. I'm just not loving this. I'm wearing this combination today with a different primer, and it just looks too dry on my skin. Even though this is not a mattifying foundation or a combo, is something about what I'm using today is not working for me. I think it might just be that I cannot put this all over. I think this primer and these foundations just do not mesh, which is a shame. That's something I'm definitely going to have to figure out what to do about that. But I really want to use these up, but I'm not enjoying using it. I mean, I'm wearing it right now. I think the finished product with the rest of my makeup looks fine, but I don't love applying it, and it just doesn't look good until the rest of my makeup is on. But we'll see what I end up doing with that. Then for my eyes, this is something I think I'm going to use for the next month and probably throw it away. This is the Becca Under Eye Corrector, and if you guys can see, I've actually hit a ton of pan in this one, and this is just a little deluxe sample size. I have not had this for that long, but it does smell a little bit, which is gross to me, so I know I probably should stop now because I'm using it under my eyes, but I haven't really had an issue with it, but it's not really doing anything amazing for me. So I want to see what progress I can make in the next month, and then I will throw this out at the end of the year. And then for my other concealers, I am using the Estee Lauder Double Wear in Extra Light Neutral on my blemishes. For under eyes, I'm using the combination of the No. 7 Lift and Illuminate Concealer in Fair and the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop Concealer in the shade Pale. I'm really enjoying this combination. The No. 7 is an awesome, like, medium coverage, more hydrating concealer. It does crease a little bit on me, but honestly not that bad. When I set it with powder, I think it's pretty good, but the color is too dark for me, which is why I'm using the NYX, and I'm really liking that. And I've also been using the MAC Studio Finish Concealer in NC15 to clean up my eyebrows and to help fill in my forehead wrinkles. I actually do have a really good dip in this one. Then for powder to set my under eyes, I'm using what I have left of this little mini of the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder. And then for my face, I'm going to start using the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Loose Setting Powder in the Translucent Light shade. And this is a powder I really, really love for the winter time. Moving on to cheek products, I have a lot here. I've got 1 bronzer, 2 contour powders, 5 highlighters, and 6 blushes, which is a lot. The blushes, I'm going to be using different ones each month, but then with the bronzers and the highlights, I'm just going to be rotating every day using different things, whatever I think is best based on what I'm feeling in the moment or on the rest of my makeup look. So for my bronzer, I'm going to be using Benefit Hoola. I've hit some substantial pan in this one. I do want to try to use this one up next year, so I'm probably going to end up depotting this one, and I hope I don't regret it. I just really, for some reason right now, feel in a mood to depot a ton of things, especially things I plan to pan. So this is a great bronzing product for me. Then for contour, I have 2 options, and these are things that I tested out last year. I really want to test again this year and decide which one is my favorite, or really which one I want to keep. So the first one is the Balm Take Home the Bronzer in the shade Oscar or Oliver. This is a really nice color for me to use as a contour. And then I have the NYX Powder Blush in Taupe, which was discontinued. I've used this up completely. This was one of my very first contour products, and it is a really cool tone taupey shade, which I think is pretty for fair skin, but I do have a warm complexion, and sometimes this can look really muddy or dirty on me, so I want to use this more and decide if this is something that I really should be keeping or not. Then I will show you the highlighters. So the first one I have is something that I don't really love. It is the Becca Shimmery Skin Perfector Pressed in Pearl. This shade just looks very chalky. It's very powdery, but you can see I've hit pan on it and I've used up a lot. So I would like to, at some point, finish this up completely. I don't want to pass it on at this stage, at least not right now, but yeah, this is something I definitely do regret buying just because I don't think that it looks that good on my skin tone. But at the time, there were really not other highlights that were this fair. And then the other 4 highlights I have are all from Ofra. These were in their little individual compacts, but I just popped them out into this extra large Z palette. And these are shades that are so great for fair skin, and I love this formula so much more than the Becca. So the shades I have here, all 3 of these are from Nikki Tutorials collab. So we've got Glazed Donut, Cloud 9, and Space Baby, and then this one right here is Pillow Talk. So we've got one that's a little bit more warm tone. This is a Duochrome Pink, Duochrome Blue, and that's just a pinky highlight. Then I do have 2 blushes in here that I would like to use. This first one was gifted to me by my friend Jean, and this is like a chopping block item for me. This was from a Tarte blush book. I'm not sure the shade name. Then the other blush I have in here is MAC Breath of Plum. This is definitely one of my favorites, a really pretty satin finish blush. So then the other blushes that I have pulled out, some of these are unused, chopping block, and then I've got some good old standbys like Tarte Amazon Clay Blush and Exposed. This is a new one to me. My other one I did pass on to my sister so I could get a fresh one, and I'm very excited for that blush. Then something that I have never used before, this is the Urban Decay Afterglow Blush in the shade Rapture. My friend Jean gifted this to me. This color looks really intense but so beautiful. And then I think I got all the blushes. So I have lastly this Clinique Get Cheeky Cheek Pop palette. I am going to be using Pink Honey and Black Honey. Moving on to eyes, I'll show you my different random eye products. So I have the Milani eyeshadow primer. I'm hoping to use this up in the next 2 or 3 months. I've used a lot of it. Then I have, for liner, I've been using the Clinique Pretty Easy Liquid Lining Pen, but then my friend Amanda did give me the Galactic Precise eyeliner marker that I would like to test out as well. Then this is going to be the last month I'm using these 3 products, which would be the Lancome Cells Booster Lash Primer, the Sephora Lash Craft Big Volume Mascara, and the Tarte Man Eater Mascara. I'm not really loving these two. I mean, it's okay mascara combination, but I thought about only using them for 2 months, and I was like, no, there's still product in there. Use them for the 3 months. So this will be the last month using these products. Now for eyeshadow, I have a whole bunch of different things going on here, but mostly these are products that I've had for a while but never used before, things on my chopping block, and then just some things that I have and I like, but I want to see if I love them and want to hold on to them. So I do have one liquid shadow. This is one of the Too Faced Tutti Frutti liquid shadows in the shade Strawberries and Champagne. It's a really pretty color, but I've never tried this before. Then I've got some ColourPop Super Shock shadows. This first one is Couche. I may have only used this once or twice. It's a really pretty color. It's an ultra metallic finish, and I need to create a look using it, but I would love to know in the comments down below if you could give me some recommendations of shadows you think would pair nicely with this one. And then these other two I've had for a while. They're starting to dry out a little bit, and I want to see basically if I want to pan these or just get rid of them. So this first one is Prickly Pear. It's a metallic shade. I feel like this one looks a lot prettier on camera than maybe it swatches, but again, need to use that on the eye. I really can't remember if I have before or not. And then this last one is a pressed pigment. So it says it's not safe for the eye area just because of the red dyes. It's going to stain my skin. I'm not worried about it. I'm willing to take the risk. And this is a shade Fooling Around. Again, something that I've swatched but I haven't used. And I did just, no, maybe I've had this one for 2 years. Oh, that's really sad and I haven't used it. Okay, so I need to use all those. Then I've got 2 eyeshadows my friend Jean gifted me a while ago from Kat Von D that I haven't used before, so I would like to test these out. So the first one is this beautiful shimmery cranberry in the color Raw Power. It's one of the Metal Crush eyeshadows, which is a really nice formula. And then we have a matte shade, which is Lolita eyeshadow. I thought this was a blush, but I guess it's an eyeshadow as well, so I'm going to probably use these in combination, but I would love to see if I enjoy these colors and formulas enough to hold on to them. Then I've got my palettes I'm going to be switching out, and then I've got some palettes I'm going to keep in every month, or at least for now, that's what my plan is. So I have 2 ColourPop palettes. This first one is You Had Me at Hello. There are some colors in here I really like, and then several I really don't use. So I want to use this and see if there are a couple colors I want to pull out, or if I'm just gonna maybe give the whole palette away. This color right here is stunning, and I love this matte shade, and the purple is pretty, but other than that, not my favorite. So we'll see what I end up doing with that one. And then we've got the Give It To Me Straight palette, which has some really pretty rose gold colors in here. There are some more warm shades. This is not cool tone, it's more rosy tone, which is why I think it will be awesome for December as like a fall to winter transition palette. Then we've got the palettes I'm going to be keeping in every month, and the first one is the Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves. This is something that I've told you guys before. I don't love the formula of these Dose palettes, and I bought all 3 of mine before I used one, which was really dumb. So I would love to get some more use out of these matte shades. And the same with the Blushing Berries palette. The colors are very beautiful, really dark, but really pretty as well. These are a little bit more on the warm side. And then I did put together a palette of singles, and I am going to have all of the names listed in the description box. I'll just hold it up for a long time so you guys can see what the shades are. And I've got Makeup Geek, ColourPop, Anastasia, and MAC. And as I was pulling out my MAC shades, they're still working, but I think I'm going to use these, see what I think, but it might end up retiring my MAC palette. I don't think I'm going to throw it away. I'm definitely not going to give it away because it's so old and I can't back to MAC it because I've already back to MAC the compacts. I can't back to MAC the pans. So it might be something I hold on to for like nostalgic purposes, which I never do for makeup, but like it was one of my first loves, one of the first things I really collected. It took me a long time to build that palette and it was really fun. So I might hold on to it, but you guys know I used to be obsessed with MAC shadows and they've really absolutely been replaced. So anyway, I'll end up letting you know what I do, but I will show you all of the shades here. Lastly, we have my lip products. There are 8 things that I have pulled to use for this month. I've got them all swatched in my hand. You can see they're all very similar, but these are shades that some of them are a little bit more on the warm side or more of like a neutral mauve. They're not quite super cool tone. Again, I think that will be nice for this transition from fall to winter. So I've got 2 bullet lipsticks, 3 satin lips, 1 liquid lip, and 2 full coverage glosses. So the first 2 I have would be MAC lipsticks, and this first one is Faux, and it is a satin finish, and this is that first swatch right there. This is one I've only used a handful of times. These MAC lipsticks are still new to me, but I am enjoying them so far. Then I have Myrrh, which is a matte finish, and it is that second swatch right here. Whenever I hear this, I always think of like frankincense and myrrh. So that one is a little deeper, a little rosier. You can see they're similar shades, but there's definitely like a difference in the depth and a little bit of the tone. Then we've got the warmest one in the bunch. This is the Dose of Colors Velvet Lip from the Desi and Katie collection in a mauve story. And I thought about putting this with my fall warm tone lippies, but it's then a little too mauve. So I think, again, it'll be good for this transition period. So that is the color right there. It's really pretty and I really love this formula. And again, depending on what I pair it with, might make it look a little bit cooler. It might bring out the mauve tones in it. The next one I have is one of the Marc Jacobs La Marque Liquid Lips in the shade Slow Burn. I did find this a while back at TJ Maxx, and here's what this shade looks like. Again, it is warmer. It's less purple tone than these other ones, but a really comfortable formula. And then I have one of the Kylie Velvet Liquid Lipsticks, which is a similar formula, comparable to the ColourPop Ultra Satin, and this is the shade Boy Bye. And I've got that one swatched right here, so that is definitely the deepest and the more purple toned out of the bunch. Next, I've got the oldest, and this is Dose of Color Stone. I do already have a backup of this one, and I'm going to use it this winter and then open my backup because this is older in my collection. I've got that swatch right here. It's such a classic color. It's very easy for me to wear, and this is one of the most comfortable fully matte liquid lipsticks. And then I have 2 of the NARS Velvet Lip Glides, which is one of my favorite gloss formulas. It is a full coverage gloss, but it's not sticky. It's decently long wearing, and it's very comfortable on the lips. So I've got the shade Bound and Roseland. So Bound is right here, Roseland is right here. So Roseland is actually a little rosier, and it's a little bit deeper, which is funny. I always thought Bound to be a little darker. I mean, you definitely don't need them both. They're very similar, but I really do love them. So those are the 8 lip products that I have chosen to wear for this next month. And those are all the products I've chosen to wear for the month of December. I will let you guys know my thoughts on some of these products in next month's update. I mean, looking at these things, I'm like, yay. I'm not super stoked. Again, like I told you, I'm still really into fall makeup, but I mean, I'm happy I have so many chopping block things in here because I will do my best to make myself try them and then decide if I want to keep them or not. If I want to get rid of them, that's great. I'm bringing down my inventory numbers, so we'll see what happens. But I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.